there, peeps? Okay, as usual, whenever I put out a video that gets a lot of response, I like to come back and look at the comments and answer as many questions as possible to the best of my ability, as well as respond to the comments that are there. I did a one on the global currency reset and also showed you that there's a troubling pattern happening with the food processing plants. And people responded to that down in the comment section. So I want to go over those because these are really important. Right now, in case you're not aware, there is a problem with baby formula that's out there. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. But first, real quick, if you could hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver or any other precious metals, go check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. So this is the video I did. I did it, oh, good lordy, a couple weeks ago or so. It's global currency reset, and I put a warning on there because I wanted to bring to your guys' attention a troubling pattern that seemed to be developing with our food processing plants. And that is, around the world, they were being burnt down, and it was causing a food shortage. And then I felt that all this is part of the Great Reset. That was just my opinion. So let's go ahead and read your comments, and let's respond to them. This is Laura Adams. She said, I'm a realtor in East Texas, and just had two of my listings I was working on call and tell me they both had acquisition companies calling them to buy their house. I begged them not to sell with an acquisition company. I told them it was Wall Street buying the homes, forcing the prices to rise where local people couldn't afford to buy them. One client went with acquisition company. The other client listened intently and chose to continue the process with me. I honestly didn't think that would happen here in my small town, but here they are, and it's never been so clear to me. You will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, Lori, that's part of the Great Reset. They are, in a lot of territories, buying up family units, and are paying way above market value just to get people to sell their house. You see, there's that dilemma we're in. A lot of people want to sell, they want to move, or they want the extra money. Of course, you're going to go with the extra money. Is the extra money going to be worth it in the long run? You can't fault anybody for wanting the extra money. It's like when I talk to people about cryptocurrencies and I say, look, these are known as the New World Order coins. These coins that you're investing in are taking your money and helping with the design of the central bank digital currency. But how can you fault people for wanting to invest in those cryptocurrencies if they think they could become rich off of them? You know, it's a hard dilemma. It's hard to decide. Is the money more important than the fact that you could be potentially enslaved by this agenda that's happening? I'm sure in the beginning you're thinking it's okay and you take the money, not thinking that anything would ever happen to you. Then, you know, a couple years down the line, you're kicking yourself in the ass because you contributed to that worldwide agenda. So yeah, it's everywhere. But thank you for chiming in. It's nice when people could comment on something having firsthand experience. From MFB here, it says, look at the silver and gold charts starting March 13 and see the pattern the next few months. This is when liquidity was priority. Silver went to $12 an hour. So MFB, I know what you're talking about, but let's take a look at it. Right about February the 9th, we see at this time, Dow Jones is at its highest level ever. It's approximately, what is that? 29,395. But all of a sudden, there's a huge drop-off. And what's happening? Well, the Rona. The shutdowns, everything. The markets crash. So from the time it bottoms on March 15, 2020, it doesn't get near its all-time high where it was before it dropped out until 11/15/2020. So you're talking about 8 months later just for it to get back at the same level. 8 months. Let's take a look at silver. Silver was riding high. So although the stock market started to crash on the 9th, what MFB is talking about, people start looking for liquidity. Gold and silver are liquid assets. You can flip them really quick. But just like everything else, they got hit as well. And we see the value of silver and gold drop. This is normal. So on the 16th of February, gold and silver finally start responding to this crash. And just like everybody else, they bottom out on the 15th. Silver went from what, 1852 and dropped all the way down to 1235 on February 15th. So it's just a little over $6, which is about 30% of its overall value. But then let's take a look at how long it's going to take before silver got back up to around the same value that it was at before the crash. So here we see silver at 1844. That's on 524. It took just a little over 2 months to recover. Not 8 months like the stock market. 2 months is what it took. But that's the pattern of gold and silver. They'll crash along with the markets, but the loss is not as much as the stock market, and their recovery is much quicker. And I know already a lot of you are asking, what about crypto? So let's take a look at Bitcoin. So when the crash really started to happen, February the 9th was the response for the stock market to start to do its crash. It took about a week later before gold and silver started to do their thing. Cryptos actually bottomed out a week earlier than gold and silver and the stock market. Their drop stopped actually on March the 8th of 2020. So now they have a whole entire week in which the stock market's still crashing along with gold and silver, and cryptos are already heading up. So how long did it take for Bitcoin to recover and get to the same level that it was at before the crash? Well, you can see here again, it's at $9,924.57. It would not hit that value again until here. It's at $9,905. It's about $19 short, but no problem. It's still close enough until July the 19th. So from March 8th, when it bottoms out, it would not get to the same level of value that it was before the crash until July the 19th. It would take just a little over 4 months. So gold and silver definitely recovers much quicker. But like MFB is saying here, definitely liquidity was the priority, especially during the crash. And gold and silver definitely is those assets. I thought this was just a movie. Seems like it's really happening. Getting ridiculous. Yeah, Phyllis, I hear you. I know whoever started that this is a movie stuff. Really, it's ridiculous. You're right. It's not a movie. This is reality. And people say, hey, you got to have faith. Oh, I have faith. But how do you know that faith isn't depending on part of us doing our job? And for us to do our job, we have to bring awareness to people. And the more people who are aware, then we can make change. The food manufacturing sabotage is really quite scary. It is, Ken. Absolutely, it is. It's not just the food manufacturing sabotaging that's a problem. There's this war between Russia and Ukraine. Yeah, that's the other part of this food processing. Remember, Russia sells a type of fertilizer that's used by 95% of the world's farmers. It's a special type of fertilizer. Don't think that's just a coincidence. It's not. Just like Ukraine being involved and them being the suppliers of most of the wheat around the world. All this is a direct attack against your food. So it's no coincidence they chose those two. It's here, Pimpy, most exciting time to own gold and silver. Yes, it is. What does William say? Under the digital currency approach, are they smart enough to impose rules outlining under what conditions precious metals can be held? They're not banking on precious metals. I think central banks around the world are buying up gold and silver just in case as a backup plan. Or if they're going to try to convince us that these digital currencies are supported by gold, which it's BS. So let's just say, for the sake of it, even if it is supported by gold and there's transparency and they could prove it to you, I still wouldn't want them to do the digital currency because it's programmable and has an expiration date on there. I don't give a crap if it's supported by gold or not. But there's a reason why the central banks around the world have been buying up all the gold, most likely to keep people from using it to create new types of currency. It's here, Pimpy, most exciting time to own gold and silver. Oh yeah, I agree with that big time. Jeffrey says, thanks again, Pimpy. Just bought more silver today. Purchase on the dip. Yeah, definitely and absolutely. But in this case, it's not really a dip. It's just, they're just straight lying to us is what it is. So just keep buying while you can. Thank you so much, Pimpy. Take care. Thank you for participating. Claire says, I'm in Tulsa area. This past Thursday morning, there was a police chase that went into Kimberly-Clark Distribution Center and Jinx near my neighborhood. Speeds exceeded 138 miles an hour. Driver was an employee of the facility. Bomb squad called in after the IED was found in the car. Silence from the media after the initial report. I think they thwarted another explosion on supplies. Sounds like it fits right into this other sabotage episode. We had 2 plane crashes into food distribution companies. What are the odds of that? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's impossible, but seriously, what are the odds? The World Economic Forum's Great Reset is going down beautifully, and yet some people are eating popcorn, dancing a jig, thinking we're watching a movie, hope these people have plenty of food and can pay the mortgage for 6 months to a year without income. Unfortunately, you're right, home value. A lot of these people who are listening to these other YouTubers tell them that they're clones and stuff like that. Like I said, I did a video just doing a ton of cheek, and that is, I'm more likely to believe the robots before I am clones, just because that is the ultimate goal for the World Economic Forum, is to put us on robots. And I know that sounds crazy, but you got to really research what it is they believe in, which is transhumanism. And I've done videos about that as well. Party Pete DJ karaoke, I love that. I'm kind of wondering about Southern Made Donuts here in America. I believe Southern Made Donuts got their flour from Ukraine. There's probably a lot of people that got their flour from the Ukraine. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They cover a huge portion of the United States. Pimpy, please do a special about the Atlanta Guidestones and the NWO agenda. Actually, I cover some of these topics, but I can't cover them on this channel, Daryl, just so you know. Just because some of the topics hit a subject that we always get in trouble for on YouTube. We do what's called a Doc and Pimpy show. It's over there on Pimpy's News Network. So the link is down below in the description. If you want to go check them out, we cover these topics. I even did an interview with Dr. Ron Neer. I did an interview with Dr. Peter McCullough. I encourage you to go check them out. The government had one job, which is to protect its people, but it failed. Yes, Skyzar, I agree. So you can see right here, it says, according to the founders, a constitution or higher law should have the following characteristics. It sets forth the basic rights of citizens to life, liberty, and property. And then the second one here says, it establishes the responsibilities of the government to protect those rights. This is even more important. It says right here, it establishes limitations on how those in government may use their power with regard to citizens' rights and responsibilities, the distribution of resources, and the control of conflict. They don't do that. They abuse these. There's a food shortage going on right now, and we have an issue with baby formula. But let me show you a perfect example of our government's not giving a crap about you, your rights, your protection, your property. Our government is too busy sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, 17 billion to be exact, and now they want more, taking care of illegal immigrants. Look at this. The first photo is from this morning at the Ursula Processing Center at the U.S. border. Shelves and pallets packed with baby formula, which is right here. This is for the illegal immigrants that got here. And this is for us over here. As much as people want to hate Trump, here's the thing. Trump was trying to say to people, America first. What he was saying is, before we could go around to all these other countries helping them with their citizens, why the hell aren't we helping our own citizens first, which is the truth? We're giving illegal immigrants housing. We gave them money. We're giving them formula. We're giving them food. Meanwhile, the number of homeless people increases every year. And when did our government ever ask us for permission to do these things? They're just doing them on their own. They're not asking our permission. They need to ask our permission. These are from our taxpayer dollars. Did we say it's okay to give pallets of food to other people? Housing plus our money? Did we say it's okay to send $17 billion of our taxpayer dollars over to the Ukraine? They don't. They've gotten way out of control. And if you speak up against it, well, then you're a racist or a misogynist, or you know what I mean? I don't know about you, but I'm so tired of everything being labeled a racist. Seriously, everything is racism. You look in the news and everything is racism. It's like, it's ridiculous. They've abused that so much that even minorities like myself are tired of hearing it. In South Australia, there is a fruit fly outbreak out of season, e.g. no fruit on the trees, leading to the bio-exclusion zones. Just an observation that affects me. I would imagine that the general population, the vast majority of them, don't realize there's a season for fruit flies. So it's okay for the government to use the media to just throw out some bullshit to you guys. Most people go, yeah, okay, if that's what you say, go ahead. They'll agree to it. One, the government testing which methods work best to lie to their people and they can get away with. And two, continue to push this particular agenda, and that is cut off your food. They're doing it everywhere. For everybody, pay attention. South Australia, it's Peter Grace. He's telling you right here that there's this magical fruit fly outbreak out of season, and that the government has now created a bio-exclusion zones. I started buying a little every month since June 2020. Good job, Fred. It starts to build up after a while. If we go to the CBDC, companies won't accept gold or silver for payment. Why not? Who said that? I've talked to my local stores around here. We've already started talking about a year and a half ago. Of course, they'll take gold or silver. Silver's value should be equivalent to a person's 1 day salary of working. That's what it should be equivalent to. As store owners, you have to ask yourself, here's gold, here's silver, and you don't want to participate in a central bank digital currency because they're just going to force you into it. They're going to close down the banks, you guys. I'm telling you right now. They're already purging out a lot of the banks. Eventually what's going to happen is there's no commercial banks. It's just you and the government, and they'll do away with all the other banks. So I've already talked to our locals here about opening up our own bank and using local currencies that are created. There are a lot of things involved with opening up your own bank. Not me personally, but I mean like in our town, separate from the other banks or separate from the Federal Reserve. It's crazy because I've never opened a bank, but just listening to them, talking to the bank people going, it's not that easy. I mean, we could, but then you have to worry about where this is made at, the currency they're talking about, how is it secure, counterfeit proof, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of different things you have to take in consideration. But if we're trying to stay away from this central bank digital currency entrapment, then that's the way to go, is just create your own currency. Hey, Pimpy, how do you handle your paycheck under this new currency system? My employer is not aware of all of this digital currency. I want to stay out of the system. Well, that's an awesome question, actually, Renee, and here's my thing. The only way you're going to have an alternative to this central bank digital currency is if people have already started talking to one another, companies talking to other companies, looking for alternatives. If you guys remember, I showed you those gold-backed currencies that were sold over there at Money Metals Exchange. I just suggested that's something that communities should think about, having their own currencies created. I did a video showing you that there's a town in Massachusetts that's created their own currency. It's only used in town. It's not used anywhere else. And because of that, their economy is strong. So for you to buy things in this town, you have to buy the currency. And when you take the currency, you can't spend it anywhere else outside of the town. It's really slick, but that's how it should be. That's how you and your locals and your community protect one another. I have no doubt there's going to be a black market out there of people wanting to swap old currency for this new central bank digital currency. Or if there's a town that's created their own currency, they'll most likely swap it because there'll be some aspects of a community that is going to be using the central bank digital currency for one reason or another. So you could see a black market develop on that, unfortunately. But if not, then you know what you do. Go over to silver coins, buy those constitutional silver. DMAC, if there's no food to buy, what are we using gold and silver to purchase? Thanks for the info. DMAC, here's the thing. Where I live, we have ranchers. We have cattle people. We have turkey ranches. We have chicken ranches, fishing. We got people all around us here that grow their own food. So you would take the gold and silver and go down to like the farmer's market and use the gold and silver to purchase from those people who do know how to grow. Got my free half ounce of silver. About to buy in a dip, 40 ounces, right on way T. Don't forget, elections are November 2022, so all the shortages coming to a head at the time would be a distraction from that. Yeah, oh, most likely. It's already happening now. Talk about timing. When word was coming out in the economy and inflation and people were pointing their fingers at the Biden administration, then magically here comes Putin. So Putin could become the excuse for everything, but people aren't falling for it. How entertainment. Okay, Pimp, we all know there's always an agenda. So what's the plan other than your precious metal hustle? Because I don't think my stomach will digest precious metals, at least to my recollection. I just gave the solution. You know what? You could use your coins to barter with people. You could pay for labor. You can have work done. You could buy supplies, materials, food using the coins. People don't want to hear this, but the truth of the matter is, your community has to start planning now. I know a lot of people are like, I don't even know how to go about this. I live in a city. I don't, you got to find like-minded people. Then you say to them, hey, let's get together. Then they bring more people and they bring more people. Right now where I'm staying, it's a small town. We've already started talking about this. It's already in the works. This would be the time for you to get to know your neighbors. And if you got some peddly crap that you're fighting over, right now you might want to squash it because you're going to have to turn to one another because there's going to be no alternatives. So everybody has something that they're good at. Some people are better with their hands. Some people are good with computers if they're up and running. Some people know how to make clothes. I mean, you're going to have to start figuring out who those people are because you're going to have to turn to them for help. I know this sounds dramatic and it sounds like fear mongering. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go onto the internet and do your research. Find out who the Great Reset is. Find out all these weird coincidences going on. You have animals being euthanated because of mysterious diseases that for some reason veterinarians can't detect anywhere. So we're talking about tons of chickens, tons of cows. They're reducing our food supply. You got the media lying to people, so-called fact checkers. Look at this. Food processing plant fires in 2022 are not part of an agenda. No, people are not setting food processing plants on fire. This is what they're telling you. Unfounded claims. They're lying. We found local news articles for most all these fires. So who's lying? These so-called fact checkers? Do you believe the fact checkers? I mean, it's crap. So I guess they're trying to tell you that it's just a coincidence that worldwide over 300 food processing plants have burnt down in the past 2 years. Ranchers and farmers are having problems. Anything to destroy the crops. They're being told that there's new types of fungus on them and that the government's paying them to destroy their crops so that the food does not get brought to the public. Not to mention now diesel is getting so expensive, it's going to get to the point where it's too expensive for delivery trucks to bring food to your stores. So I'm guessing you think all these things are coincidence, right? So you got the media working against you. They're lying to you here. Truck drivers feel impact of rise in gas prices. Americans' oil and gas boom didn't deliver true energy security. No, here's the thing. When you get a president that gets into office and signs a damn executive order canceling the pipelines, you don't think that's a coincidence that contributes to all this? We went from being the number one exporter of energy in the world to now the number one importer. We're buying fuel from other people when we have it here. There's no fracking. They lie to you, say it's an environmental hazard, which is a lie. They stopped the coal because they said it's an environmental hazard. That's a lie. They stopped the pipelines because they say it's an environmental hazard. That's a lie. So, them trying to tell you that there's global climate change is just an excuse that all contributes to what we're going through now. You got to see the bigger picture. Because right now we have something a lot more pressing and immediate than long term. So here's an idea. How about this? You put a price freeze on fuel, drop it down to $2 a gallon so that people can start delivering supplies and we get back on track. And the difference between the actual cost that we pay to get the fuel brought here or the oil brought here so it could be converted into fuel, the government supplement that. If they're sending $40 billion to Ukraine, that $40 billion could be used to buy fuel for Americans. Open up the oil lines, open up the fracking, open up the coal mines. We won't have this problem. If you can't see the truth and you're so biased, there's one political party that's spearheading all this. Now, I'm not saying the other people aren't involved because there are a handful of Republicans that are behind this as well. But the vast majority of you should see with your own eyes that the one political party that is hell-bent on destroying this country from the inside out is the demon rats. What you should be doing right now is really trying to figure out where all the resources are that you're going to need to survive. All of a sudden, magically, the prices are too high. Delivery trucks cannot pick up the food necessary to bring it to you. What are you going to do? Where is your local farmers market? Do you even know any farmers? Do you know any butchers? Do you know any cattle ranchers? Do you know any pig farmers? Is there a place for you to go fishing at? Is there a place for you to go hunting at? Have you went on the internet and downloaded maybe an alternative thing to eat? You have to really start putting you guys yourselves in survival mode. You want to do that before you have to be in survival mode. You have to start planning now. How you got there? What is that, 4Patriots where you could buy that food? You could buy like 2 years supply and store it up at your house. These are things that you should be thinking about. So David here says, look up the law. We were a slave to the corporation until 2019. Trump restored the republic and now entering into Nasera Jacera. Look it up. God bless. Okay, there's no law that removed us from corporation. We're still corporation. Each state is a corporation. Each city is a corporation. I mean, it goes further than that. I did a video to show you how many things are incorporated. You know, they really did a number on this because they use a corporation and circumvent our Constitution is what they do. So nothing's been restored. I know you guys. See, this is why I told you be careful about where you're getting your information from. I know there's a lot of people out there in YouTube land blowing smoke up your butt with all this hokey pokey. Trump is still the president. We're looking at clones. That's like you guys telling me that, oh, no, Trump controls the military for 90 days. And I debunked that and blew it out of the water in no time. It's all these other things that I've debunked so many times. And then you guys get pissed at me because I'm the bad guy because I'm trying to keep you guys grounded and keep you guys aware of the truth. All these other things are just distractions. When I find something that's related to some of the subjects we talk about when it comes to Nasera Jacera, I'll bring you that information or information I think can help you. Hey, Pimpy, you still work with Cvine News, right? Tell these people there is no tribunals happening since 9/11. People need to hear the truth. So what W is talking about is a lot of these so-called masterminds behind the 9/11 attacks are still in Gitmo. Yeah, they still have not been to trial at all. Trials are supposed to start this year, and I believe a couple of them have. But yeah, you got to ask yourself, what are we sitting here 20 years, 21 years later? How come nobody's been to court yet? Well, that's because the CIA doesn't want them to go to court. Judges have actually quit these cases because their lives were threatened. So what is the truth? Well, 9/11 was used to do what? Allowing our government to spy on us. They said it was only going to be temporary, but instead they extended and added powers now. And look where we are today. So this agenda has been going on for quite some time. But no, I don't work with Cvine News for personal reasons. There's personal reason why I don't work with them no more. I'll explain it to you guys later. The digital dollar is like food stamps. You can't buy any and everything with food stamps. You can't go into a nice or fast food restaurant and buy fast food at a lot of places or clothes. I guess that's why they call them food stamps. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying there, but it's not about that. It's about the fact that they put an expiration date on there or they tell you where you can buy and can't buy things. Now, there's a new system coming out that everybody's going to be linked into for your medical. So if you're an obese person and if you do go to a fast food restaurant to buy food, they're going to tell you no. They're just going to deny it. Why? Because you're obese. They're not going to allow you to buy guns. They're not going to allow you to buy ammo. They're, and you're going to get a social score and they're going to say, you lost points, so you can't do this and you can't do that. See, we still have a chance to do something about it. But right now, everybody's just, paying attention to the movie with popcorns and we're concerned that the clones are just out there doing their thing. No slavery, Pimpy. Do not forget to stock up on your ammo. Yeah, and I'm in California, man. They are putting the garbage on that bad boy. They're limiting it and taxing it, and then you have to register to say why you want to buy it. It's the overreach of the government, and it's violating our constitutional rights. But who's stopping them? Nobody is. We're just letting them do it. Crypto juggernaut. These plants are still operational right now at Catalog in Memphis. I just passed these plants, used to work there. So I think, with the burning down of these plants, we know they can rebuild them and go operational again. It's not meant to stop it altogether, or some cases it might be. It's used just to create a huge delay in food being delivered. It's part of their lowering the population overall. If it ain't the jab in your arm, then it's the food. You starve to death, and the neighbors robbing each other. Why do you think Democrats are letting out criminals? I mean, we had 3 mass shooters from Democrat-controlled cities. The day these people shot people up, let them out on bail. How come nobody's questioning that? How come you guys aren't pissed about it? So yeah, the food processing places, they were burnt down, doesn't mean they couldn't be rebuilt. I'm sure they have been and are operational again. The purpose is to reduce the food supply as much as possible or delay the food supply. Then they'll have an excuse for rationing. They'll say, fine, the food processing places are working, but now we got to ration food. These are all the tricks you're going to use. The government just wants to control you, period. And you're going to have to rely on the government for your food, your money, your shelter that's coming up that they're going to provide you. Because you know why? Because they'll own everything and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The insurance company should be all over this agenda, no doubt. There's actually, I seen an article probably about 3 weeks ago that a lot of insurance companies just quit. They're done. They're collapsing just because of all these things that are going on. They can't cover all this. They do realize something is definitely going on. Silver is down, but the premiums are still high. Yep, that's because they're being supported at that level. I told you not to believe the spot market. It's just paper manipulation. We all know the true value of gold and silver. If the true value of gold and silver wasn't with the premiums, then people wouldn't spend the money getting it. Make sense? Nasera Jacera, the Great Awakening, only good and evil. We won. Moving to the positive Nasera Jacera. Positive. There's a what is there now a positive and negative Nasera Jacera? Actually, somebody sent me a video, Charlie Ward, claiming that there's a good and bad Nasera Jacera. Good Lord, man. Seriously, you guys. All this is doom and gloom. What the F, man? Does anybody have any faith at all? Yeah, you can have faith, Busy. You can. But like I said, God isn't going to come down here and do it all by himself. There are times where God's saying, hey, look, I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you. But you got to get off your asses and stop staring at the movie and eating popcorn and thinking clones are ruling the world. You're going to have to help get up. He'll inspire people. He'll motivate people. But you have to assist. So part of the assisting is at least bring an awareness. Does that make sense? Because people go, Pimpy, you're not doing anything to help the matter. Yeah, I talked to our locals here. We do community stuff here. We're working on it. Pimpy, I wish silver would go down to $1 an ounce. I'd love to rub that silver all over my body too. Take a bath in it. Use a little gold for shampoo. Kevin, that is funny. For those who don't know what Kevin's talking about.
I think it's still the most undervalued asset in the history of the world. So I tell people, if you have to invest in one thing, it's silver. I love it. I actually love silver. I'm in love with silver. Like I look at like bars of silver, my own bars of. I even have a few little coins laying around here on my desk, and I rub them all over my body.
I love that. That's a classic, man. I love it. Here's Carlos the Troll. What does he got to say? One day people will wake up and see how you manipulated for personal financial gain. How are people being manipulated? And how am I gaining from them? Unless you people want to send me some money for free, I'll take it. The Great Reset is this weekend. That's what you said a year ago. The Great Reset, it doesn't have a scheduled date. It's an agenda. It isn't like, hey, it's tomorrow, or hey, so you're wrong YouTube channel. Go back over to those other people that talk about the clones and stuff. They're the ones that give dates, not me. Jason, Pimpy, what? Pimpy, who or what is pinning you chat with a chess piece with a picture that looks just like you? When you go to their channel, it says to subscribe. I am subscribed to you and have been for years. Thank you for your very informative film, but I'm concerned about your chat. Well, boohoo, here's the thing. I've been warning people to be careful about these kind of individuals. You can see right here below you, this is Brian Fox says something, but if you go to the response, see this? It says pinned by Pimpy's investment chat. That's not me. These are people who are scamming other individuals out of money. They use my logo. They say everything like I do. And then they tell you to go to WhatsApp. So don't go to WhatsApp. Don't send no money. Don't do anything like that. I don't tell people to send me their money. I don't do that at all. But let me show you the difference between them and me. You can see here, boohoo, that I responded to what you posted. You can see this person pretending to be me. You can see the real me. You'll have this circle around my name. See this? This gray circle. That's how you know when it's really me. This one doesn't have it at all. That's not me. And it's not pinned by me. So you guys be careful. I tried warning people before. I don't want anybody to get scammed by these people. Be Pimpy Rich. I still think that's funny. Carlos again. Here he is. Stop falling for this clown's BS. There's no damn great currency reset. It's BS. So here's the thing, Carlos. Yeah, there is a GCR. There's people out there they call monetary resets, currency resets, economic resets, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely happening. There's no doubt about it. It happens all the time anyways. It's been part of our history for a long time. But all you have to do is just go Google it. And you can see there's even companies. Look at right here. Are we nearing another monetary reset? Of course we are. And who are these people? Let's take a looky-poo, shall we? They're the official monetary and financial institution. That's who these people are. And they're talking about a currency reset. But if you go in there, you can scroll down there. You're going to find some people who are a little bit out in left field and wacky, and some people who don't agree with it. But for the most part, you even have professionals out there talking about it. Say you can scroll down. You got again, it's the same thing. You got some people talking about it, some people agree with it, some who don't. But you can go right here to World Economic Forum. They talk about it. They're the people that's behind this. You even have people like Stansberry Research. You know, that's Danella. She talks about it. Her guests come on and talk about it. You have different types of financial groups talking about this. Lynette Zhang says it's here. Everybody says it here. Look at this, the Great Reset. So you can just go down through here. You don't have to take my word. There's tons of companies talking about it now. Look at this, the New World Reset, whatever you want to call it. Reset 2021. I mean, it's all over. So, yeah, Carlos, guess what? You're wrong again. Anyways, that's it for now, you guys. I do appreciate when you guys chime in and post your comments and stuff. Like usual, I'll try to come back and respond to them when I can. Anyways, that's it for now. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.